styling. I thought this was so cool. I met Diane Vezza a couple times at events, and I found it so interesting what you do. You know, we always see these editorials and ads and commercials of this beautiful food displayed and wonder, you know, how did it get there? And then you go home, cook something, make it yourself, and say, like, this doesn't look like that. Deb is the owner of the studio, so I want to talk to you. We'll talk to you, and then we'll talk to Diane about actually putting it together. But tell us a little bit about how you got started and your studio.
I graduated college. I got a job as a set designer for a huge photographic studio that did a lot of home design, and I was an assistant prop stylist. So, and then one thing led, and they did like home furnishing, and they did wallpaper accounts, they did all kinds of accounts, but I kind of got involved more in like the in-type food part of it. So then I met Iggy, and we had the studio, and it went from there.
And on Instagram, you're prop that. And that's how, I guess, your side of the things, because it's amazing. This studio, when I walked in today, everything is here. From the glasses, I mean, everything you see on this table and every single little detail is what the two of you work on to actually make this shoot come together and look incredible. Very first thing that you both discussed was the tabletop, and I would never think of this. This is, you know, you kind of think, you start to think the glasses and the spoons and the stirs, but this is where you started. And how did you start with picking this out?
I think because we decided to do a summer drink, and so we said, let's keep it light and airy. And so Diane and I always collaborate on, okay, I'm gonna make this, you know, blueberry drink, and then I said, oh, for it to really show up the color, let's put it on white. So
that's how it started.
And that's kind of how it started from that point. And then because it was white and more rustic, then we brought out a bunch of glasses, and we'll see which one fits best.
Awesome. So these are all the glasses that you have. How did you come up with the final glass decision?
Together.
Which one was it? What can we see? Which one you decided on?
I think that we like this one, right?
Yes, that's true.
And it's funny because you wouldn't necessarily think that you have to go through so many glasses, but there's the basic ones that you started with that you said a lot of people would have at home.
Right.
And then something a little bit more fancy.
Right, and then these we thought were too fancy, not for summer,
Okay.
and this just kind of was a little too short.
Oh,
And the others are too much for
Right,
wine.
and then this was maybe a little bit too fancy.
And-
So that's how we came up with the final decision on
This
that
is
one.
the final decision.
Yes.
All
All that.
for this glass.
Which one
So we
exists?
have the tabletop that we're to shoot on, and then the glass. Now tell us what drink you're gonna make.
Okay, we're gonna make a mojito, blueberry mojito today.
Okay.
Perfect for summer.
Oh, I love
So the
this.
first thing we're gonna do, put some sugar in the muddling container, throw a handful of blueberries in.
Okay. So this is something that anyone would normally do at home for
Yes.
a drink. You naturally
And mush it up.
when you're putting it together. Do this process.
This gets the nice flavor and gets the flavor inside the sugar, so you basically are making like a blueberry sugar.
Okay.
And then once you have that, then you take your mint and you muddle that as well. So in a regular mojito, you always muddle the mint so you get little particles.
Do you put anything in there to muddle it with, or
A
that's
little
just,
sugar on the
okay,
bottom.
Same thing.
And do that. And then once you have that, you add your liquid or your juice. We're gonna add a little vodka to this.
Yay!
Yay.
Perfect way to do summer.
And then we're gonna add some of this lovely juice, which gives us a little more flavor.
So when you're doing this, I mean, part of your job is knowing some of the recipes and how to put stuff together.
Correct.
Then the major part for the editorials and for the shoots is knowing how to make it look absolutely beautiful and appetizing.
And little tricks to
Okay.
keep it
Yeah.
better
So
than it
do
would
you-
normally look.
Do you usually start by, having to make the food or the drink or whatever, the item is that they're eating first, or do you sometimes have them all ready to go?
Sometimes people give me recipes and I
They
have
do.
to start to cook them from scratch. But in this case,
Okay.
we're putting things together.
Right.
But I know kind of that the mint will be black if
That's-
we do it too early.
Okay.
And I knew this was a nice color and a summery looking drink, so I'm still muddling.
Do you ever have to work with the colors,
Yes.
if you know that it is supposed to be a light purple drink?
Sometimes they could be very black, depending on the juice that you pick. So sometimes if you're using pomegranate, it could be a black pomegranate, but you want to do more of a grapey, lighter color pomegranate. So that's the reason for always having food coloring with you,
just
just in
to make
case.
sure that it
Right,
is going to
but you want it to represent and feel really
right,
real.
because also someone
You want
going
people to
home,
make it
yeah,
at home.
to try to make
Yeah.
some. And then you guys speak together a lot because you'll know, I guess, what will look better in certain glasses. Maybe you're used to doing this, but you'll say, oh, we should try this glass instead because the color will pop more.
Right.
Or the mint will show up a little bit better.
Right.
Right.
And then, you know, then once Diane places things, you'll see, then we'll talk about the ice. And
Okay.
then we'll
Right.
talk
Yeah,
about,
that's-
you
yeah.
know,
Accessories. It's almost like the
Right.
jewelry on the outfit. Now you're gonna add
That's perfect.
flowers, and you're gonna add something to nosh to eat with your drink. So it kind of builds, and we work together all the time.
Yeah.
Napkins and all that sort of
So
stuff.
now you have the drink ready
Right.
to go.
So now we're gonna get ready to put it in the pitcher that we're gonna show.
And you also had to pick this.
We,
Right?
Yes.
Yes.
So now I mean, I love the glass. This really shows the color.
yeah, it's
of
going to show the color of the drink, and then it's also like, it's simple.
Right.
It's just like
The
simple,
lines are
so
clean.
the lines are clean, and the glass, it will make the glass more pop.
Okay, all right.
so Deb, which ice cubes do you like? Do you
I
like
love that this process. This is what we do. Ice cubes.
Do we want crushed ice, little crushed ice, or do we want nice big fat ice cubes?
I think we want big fat ice creams.
Okay,
Look at these. So these are
handmade.
Acrylic.
handmade acrylic ice cubes. And a little tidbit, I guess maybe you could share this. These are not as inexpensive as
As
you
you
think. Right.
They're all hand molded, hand cut, polished, and they're about $50, $75 each.
So when you come to a prop studio, and if
Right.
you're putting together a cookbook or you're putting together a magazine editorial shoot or an ad, all of these things are figured in. And
Yes.
so they would have to come and this is a certain amount, the pitcher, and you have to buy or rent your ice
Rent
cubes.
your ice cubes.
Rent your glass, rent your tabletop.
Exactly.
Right.
So all those little details are part of the styling, which I didn't know, and I think that's it.
Right, every little thing, you know, the flowers, going out to purchase the flowers.
Oh, yes.
Here, because I have the studio, I always have all herbs growing and flowers growing and everything growing, so I can just go outside and pick it.
That's perfect, yes. And you have I mean, there was a ton of different tabletops that you showed. I mean, the studio around us are full of different plates, and Diane was telling me about how one of them uses the color matched even, a
Right.
dish, to get it just the right color for someone.
I know they wanted the whole tone on tone, so I had to paint the surface that matched the plate, that matched everything.
That's
So
amazing.
spray paint helps.
Yeah. So Diane, what are you,
Okay.
you're using the ice cubes.
So I'm using these ice cubes to anchor the fruit into the pitcher. Because if I didn't, and I put the fruit in,
Right.
it would all pop up once I put the liquid in.
So when we're home, we never think about that. We're
because
just
we just,
putting everything in and then we're wondering why when we bring the pitcher out, it's all just floating on the top.
correct. So these little cubes are holding the fruit down. And this way you get
Yes.
a nice variance on,
Gorgeous.
you know, where
So-
everything should go.
So anyone who's like doing their Instagram pictures and you want to
Look
get them
out.
to look even better, this is the key.
That's
Right.
Find some acrylic ice cubes.
Or you can anchor it with your own ice cubes, but you have to be fast with ice cubes
'cause
because
they
they
melt,
and they
yeah.
change the color of them.
So if you were doing it with real ice cubes, would you still do the square shape?
If I had them,
That
yes.
would be the
Yeah.
ideal
And then
shape.
get them anchored down
Right.
together.
Like right away, be fast,
Yep,
get the cubes in there.
that's right.
Right, and what's nice about these handmade ones, they're all different shapes.
Right.
Yes, like
You know,
this.
some are
yeah.
halves, and like this has like a little bit more.
They really look.
Sides.
They look authentic. You know, you don't lose that. So.
It's okay.
The fakeness. So pretty. I love this.
So we're almost there.
Yeah. And you had everything all sliced up and the peaches
Yep.
ready to
And
go.
you can use any kind of fruit that you have for a mojito. Just have to muddle it.
Yeah, no one ever really thinks about that.
Yeah,
I think
they
you
think that regular.
traditional
Correct.
mint and
Yep.
lime. But I love that you added the blueberries and the peach. Just,
Just
gives
makes
a
it
little
more-
sweetness
Yeah, sweetness and
for summertime.
tasty, and you'll see everything will stay where it's supposed to stay.
Look at how beautiful that
So
looks.
now I have this. I'm gonna pour this in halfway, and then some seltzer.
Oh,
So we're gonna pour this in like this.
wow. I can smell it. It smells delicious.
Smells great,
Yeah.
right? It's so aromatic, and then I'm gonna do some seltzer.
Seltzer and the bubbles.
Yep. And then I'm gonna do a little more of this so that it's not two-toned. Do this, top it off like that,
Oh wow.
and there you go.
the most
see how
perfect picture I've ever seen.
And
It's
then
beautiful.
the other thing we need to do is do the glass.
Yes.
So the glass is basically done the same way
Okay.
with ice cubes and layering of ingredients.
So you do the same exact way.
Same thing.
And again, like if someone wanted to do this at home and use real ice cubes, you would just do this. You would.
Yeah.
That's a little tip to really know is to not just throw the ice cubes in and try to get the fruit in, but to really place them.
That's right.
And it's a really nice way to serve a drink to someone if you can do it that way.
If you're fast.
If you're very fast.
Do that, and we'll put some of this in here.
Blueberries.
And then some more ice. And then some more peaches.
Oh, amazing.
And some lime. Just let it.
You really do this. Like, it looks so simple
Yeah,
to
fun.
do, but it's such a having that detailed eye. I feel like, and knowing just the placement of everything matters too.
Let me just top it off with a little more color so it's not layered.
So nice.
Have that. And then, if you like, we can garnish with other things.
Okay.
So sometimes I like to take a nice sprig of mint, put that in the side here. That. Letting that come out.
That's
The other thing we can do is, Deb got me some skewers.
So let's talk about that really quick. You even have different skewers to choose from.
Yes.
I guess what's the thought process that you have when you are picking that?
So this one is kind of like, this is a little longer. So if you wanted to have like a stir,
Oh, okay.
you know,
Right.
you could garnish it and
Then
just
you would
hold the
do
top and it can
So
stir.
even that,
and
like a
it's-
little detail of like the
Right.
blueberries and the peach to that stick
Mhm.
to make it
Just to tie in all the flavors that we're using. Together with this.
It's a beautiful drink for summer. The flowers, you said that
Yes.
these are some of the ones that you grow.
That's, yeah.
that I have
outside, just a
that are
few.
right here, no big deal.
And like for even like a little variation, if you didn't want to garnish it this way,
Right.
you could, you know, pansies are edible flowers, so you could even garnish it, you know, with the flower.
That's
That's
so
so like-
pretty, yeah.
And then on your table, if you have a picnic table or whatever, you could like just simply take some blossoms and just like sprinkle them all around.
See, that's a nice little thought. Like and they're little flowers. They're not even like this big, huge.
Right.
It's just something subtle.
And it just
But
adds like
look at how it
another-
changes. I mean, you just added a few blueberries, mint leaves, and a couple flowers on the table, and it looks
Right, you
beautiful.
just put them together.
And these,
Sorry.
oh, you
And
even
then-
had the snacks.
Do you have, which bowl do you
This
like?
is the bowl I like.
You like this one? Yeah.
Yeah, it's
I
a little
like
bit
this.
smaller. This is a little bit too big and
It
too deep.
overwhelms.
And it just, this fits in a better size relationship to the glass.
Because you
in the
have to have
kitchen.
a snack with your drink.
Of course, absolutely.
I mean, what would a drink be?
Put this out here.
That way, this one here.
Side.
And then you even have the linens.
Yeah.
Yes.
So like in the shoot, if we were gonna, you know, come in tight and set this all up, we kind of look and see what we like best. Like, do we think like a lavender one, or should we keep it simple and just have a clean white, very light? And then this way, it's just there to soften
Yeah.
what's going on, and it doesn't really overtake.
Okay. It's just such a subtle detail, but even you just putting it in right now, and I'm seeing it from this side, not even in a photograph, you can tell that it just did a
Napkin
little-
folds.
Yeah. It's just something that added, and look at even a few little.
Nuts and things like that.
I like it. I love all the beautiful details. I feel like this is so important to see how this really happens and it comes together, because it looks simple. If
Right.
you just looked at a picture, you would think, oh, this,
Right.
you know, no big deal. But the process of doing it, there's so much thinking. There's the storyboard, there's a mood board. The two of you
Right.
spent a few hours talking and discussing just how to put the drink together and
Right.
what's going to
Right,
work.
and then recipes will decide, like, you know, like what, Diane, what's in the recipe? How many
Right.
ounces? Like, how big of a glass? How, like,
And what
Right.
fruit we can put around
Right.
to accentuate.
Yeah.
the drink.
And you even had a little talked about the snack, which is not even
Right.
the focal point.
No, but we
But-
talk about that, you know, pistachio has a little bit of green, so we just thought it's subtle, but not
Right.
really, and it's a little
Yeah.
salty and
Nice.
Would go
I love
nicely.
all the little
Yeah.
touches, and it just came together so beautifully. At the end, I want to drink that.
I know.
It's perfect. I just thank you guys so much for showing
yeah,
us.
you're
I mean, I
welcome.
know
Anytime.
you're giving away some of your
just-
secrets.
not everyone has the ice cubes, right?
Yeah, you know, the stirs, the glasses, the tabletops. There's so much involved. I do want to make sure that everybody finds and follows you both. What's your Instagram?
Diane Vezza.
Diane Vezza. So at Diane Vezza and
Deb Ruggieri.
Deb Ruggieri. And mine is, you guys know, at Dawn Russo. Thank you both so much for letting me come in here and sharing your secrets.
Cheers.
And yeah, seeing all this, the whole process. It was great.
Thank you.
Thank you, that was great.